high school, I was a hard hitter. I took every chance I could get to make a big hit, and when it came to making clutch big plays, I was always there. I knew I had what it took to play D1 college football, and that was my main goal. This play I made my next game right here single-handedly put me on the map as I sacked the quarterback and stripped the ball from him, which allowed my teammate to pick up the ball and score a touchdown for our team. I continued to rack up these hits. I was clearly on another level than these players as I caused another fumble, which ended up another touchdown for our team. I wasn't done this game though, as I ended up getting another sack right here on the quarterback. I was on track to getting a D1 offer as I kept making huge plays every game. And if you came near me with the ball, I was not letting you through. It was my dream since I started playing football in 6th grade to play D1 football. My favorite team growing up was always Colorado, so they were my goal. Unfortunately, so far it seemed like they were not interested in me, so I knew I had to keep putting that work in and to continue to put myself on the line for any play. I was really starting to make a big impact on every game, making tons of tackles. However, I had one major weakness, which was man coverage. I could not do it. This was going to come back to bite me someday, but for now all I could do was just work on it and try my best. I continued to let up huge plays, and this was all my fault. I ended up making up for all my missed plays as I got a huge 4th down tackle for loss stop, and I kept making solid tackles for very short gains. They should have just stopped running the ball as I got to every single one of them. I was showing off my speed on some plays as well as I could run across the field. I was so close to causing a safety here, just 1 yard short. This was an absolute suicide pass as I killed anyone. Also, watch the effort I made on this play to run across the entire field to make the tackle. I continued to make full effort, huge tackles as I put everything on the line to make these tackles. We were now in the semifinals of the playoffs and I had to make some big plays. And to keep this a shutout, I got a huge stop in the red zone as they got no yards. It was now the championship game. I started off this game with a massive hit that caused a fumble and we recovered it. This was huge. I'm so surprised I didn't cause another fumble. Look how hard that hit was. We ended up getting an easy victory, but now that high school was over, it was time for the next chapter in life. Where would I get a scholarship? It's time to see. Colorado did not give me an offer, so I ended up committing to Colorado State, and look who we were playing in our first game. Unfortunately, I was not on the starting lineup, so I had to prove my grounds on special teams, so I wanted to use max effort on every chance I could get on the field. My very next play on special teams ended up being my first tackle. Look at this massive hit I laid out on the player. It was clear that my days from high school were back, and all I had to do was keep working as hard as I was, and I would earn a spot soon enough. And just like that, coach must have seen my effort as he gave me my first snap of the game. Only 20 seconds left. However, I wanted to make the most of it. However, I was scared. The play was designed for man coverage, but thankfully, look at this. On my first play, I ended up getting a huge tackle. This had to have set the tone to the coach. If he didn't think I was a star player, I don't know what he was thinking. That was the end to my first collegiate game. Even though we got blown out, I felt pretty proud with my performance. Clearly, my coach thought that too, as he gave me a shot at my first position battle to try and get starting spot on this team. However, literally nothing went my way. I knew I would have other chances though in the future, so I was not worried about it. Our next game was against Tulsa, and I was back on special teams. I ended up cutting around all these defenders to make a huge tackle. I made play after play on special teams as I kept getting big hits on the punt returners. Our team clearly sucked though, as I was getting tons of reps on special teams, but hey, I'm not complaining about that. I hit the weight room in the offseason and it was showing. This was by far my best play yet, as I got a huge hit and the returner only got 1 yard. We ended up getting blown out, and I could tell this team absolutely sucked. Of course, our next game had to be against number 1 ranked Alabama. This was very different from me, coming from a winning high school program as a starter to now being on only special teams on a losing program. I wanted to change this around. I knew we were going to get blown out, but I will continue to make big plays for myself. I felt bad for Kool-Aid, but he should have learned his lesson to not even return the ball. He ended up getting some revenge on me as he broke my tackle. I'll give it to him. But just like that, coach finally gave me my chance again to hopefully get something going on defense here. Unfortunately, I was not really able to do much as the ball was not going my way, but we got a 4th down stop actually. Unfortunately, coach decided to not put me back out, and I was getting kind of mad, I'm gonna be honest. I was clearly one of the hardest workers on this team, and I knew I was what this team needed to make something happen, so he should have given me a shot. I ended up coming back into the game with only 20 seconds left on the clock. I ended up getting myself into the play here and helping my teammate tackle this guy to the ground, but just like that, it was game over and we got blown out once again. I also continued to suck in my position battles as I lost once again, so nothing was going for me. Back on special teams, I continued to make big play after big play, and to my surprise, we were actually winning a game for the first time this season. And just like that, we were going to secure our first victory of the year against UTEP. However, I didn't play a single snap of the game, so I was angry. And it didn't help that I continued to suck at practice. For some reason, any practice that I was at, I couldn't get anything going for me. In our next game against San Jose State, I was even struggling on special teams where I normally excelled. Finally though, I was able to cut through 2 players, make my way all the way to the returner, get a huge hit for only 1 yard return. These plays, however, were the only times I saw the field this game, and I was furious. If I didn't earn the starting spot by the end of the season, I was going to transfer to to a different school. I would just have to hope that some school would want me after not even playing much. Our next game was up against Wyoming. We continued to suck as a team, so I also wanted to switch to a better team. I knew my options would probably be limited though, as I have seen very little playing time this whole game, and I just got pancaked right there. I suck. Like I was saying, I've received very little playing time this entire season, so I'm not sure if any teams would want me after this. I would just have to hope. I would either get the starting spot on this team or another team would want me. On this next play, however, I made the biggest play I had this entire season, as I got the fumble recovery on the punt. That was crazy. I was so happy with that. Surprisingly, the offense was actually able to do something. I thought they would just waste it. I continued to do anything I could to get some recognition and work my hardest. We ended up getting absolutely blown out by Wyoming and another loss to our season. This week in practice, we were finally in the indoor facility, which made things a little better, but I still ended up losing the battle. Our next game was up against Hawaii, which was kind of cool to go there actually. Unlike usual, the returner actually kind of bodied me right there and trucked me off of him. I didn't get the tackle. I ended up getting my revenge on the very next punt right there. Also, finally, one of the blockers actually did something. Still though, he went for 0 yards. Even when the returner was actually able to make a return, I was still able to make the tackle on the play. And actually, we finally got our second win of the season. I was surprised. This next practice was my best one yet, and I finally started to make some plays happen. I did anything I could to insert myself into the play to hopefully win this battle, and I ran across the entire field. Unfortunately, I ended up falling just short of winning the starting position, so I was really thinking of transferring after this season. Up against Boise State, I was not able to the returner here to make a huge play. I struck back here on the very next play as the returner almost gave me the ball there. Plays like these brought me back to my high school days, as I just laid out the body again. And just like that, I was finally back to my safety position. I was so happy. This really was bringing me back to my high school days now. I had to prove myself to my coach that I really deserved the starting spot over everyone else. Unfortunately, when I finally had the chance to make a tackle, I just flat out missed and fell on my face, making myself look silly. And Boise State just continued to work all over our defense. I knew I needed a better team. On this next play, I was so close to getting to the runner. However, the blockers are a lot better in the collegiate level than in high school. And just like that, coach took me out of the game again and put me back to special teams like usual. I was completely pissed off at this point, as I was given no opportunities to prove myself. Of course, to make it worse, like usual, we were getting blown out. But hey, I guess I was given another shot at the field here. Let's go. Let's see if I can make something happen. But of course, nope. What'd you expect? Nothing towards me. Just like that, it's the end of the game and my opportunity was over. But hey, I gotta stop complaining, and maybe next year I can make a name for myself. This was the last game of the season, and I decided it would be my last at Colorado State. However, we were winning this game though, so I was very surprised. It is Nevada though, who sucks just as equally as us. I know if Colorado State just had given me the chance this season to prove myself, they would not have regretted it. But now they're gonna regret it greatly, as I'm gonna be moving to a new team next season. It's too bad, because I wanted to help turn this program around, but I guess I'll never get the chance to. Hopefully I'll find another team I can help out. On my final play, playing for Colorado State, I ended up not doing anything, and the defense ended up choking the victory, and we lost our final game. So after that terrible freshman year experience at Colorado State, where will I go? Will there be any team that will want me after that terrible performance by me? Stay tuned to the next episode to find out, and hopefully we can turn things around.